everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make my brand new pattern release called the Cavalier scarf. And I get questions all the time about, do you have a scarf that's made specifically for men? Now, I did design this as a man's scarf, but it's such a beautiful pattern that I think even the girls are going to like it too. The neat thing about this pattern is I had it written probably a year ago, but I just didn't have the right yarn for it. And it's also very easy, and if you've never done front post, back post, it's a great project to learn and practice that technique. Now the yarn I'm using today is some that I received from Hobium yarns called Jersey, and it comes in a cake. And this particular one is just gorgeous with its purples and plums and beiges and creams. It is perfect for this scarf. And a lot of the cake yarns are perfect for this scarf. I think even some of the Red Heart striping yarn would be great for this scarf as well to show off the texture. I don't really think variegated yarns are a good choice because they might be just too busy for this pattern. Now you will find this pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make a Cavalier scarf, you're going to need about 7 ounces of any medium weight number 4 yarn. Or you might need more if you want to make it longer. The scarf measures 10 inches across and 56 inches long. So if you want to make this maybe for a taller person, you might need a little bit more yarn if you want to make it longer. The jersey yarn that I'm using is from Hobium yarn, like I said, and it is 80% acrylic and 20% wool, which I absolutely love that combination. But you don't have to use that if you don't like the wool in there. I just like it because I think the wool gives it a little extra warmth and softness, and the acrylic gives it a little bit of durability. And even though it has that 20% wool in there, you can still toss it into the wash machine and then maybe hang it up to dry, which is what I usually do, or I'll lay it across the top of my dryer. But like I said, you're going to need about 7 ounces. We're going to be stitching today with our eye hook, and the eye is a 5.50 millimeter crochet hook. Now if your eye hook is a 5.25, that will work also, but you may need to just loosen your tension just a smidge and just watch it as you go. You'll need a needle for weaving in your ends, and of course you'll need a pair of scissors. All right, we're going to get started. We're going to begin with our slip knot, and then we're going to chain 31 chains. I've chained my 31 chains, and we're going to begin by stitching a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, put your hook through and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull that loop through the first 2, and then yarn over and pull that loop through the last 2. Now this initial chain 3 will count as our double crochet, and then we stitched 1 double crochet in that 4th chain. And now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the chains across. One thing I do want to mention is that when you chain your initial 31 chains, make sure that you don't chain too tightly, because we're stitching a row of double crochet in our chains, and you don't want the end of your scarf to be just a little bit puckery and not lay nice and flat. So I'm just working across, stitching 1 double crochet in each chain across. So here's my row 1. We chained 31, we put our first double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, And that chain 3 counted as our first double crochet. And you need to have 29 double crochets. And your stitch count on every row will be 29 stitches. All right, let's do row 2, and this is where the fun begins. All right, we're going to chain 3, and our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We're going to turn our work, and then we're going to double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and then we stitched 3 more. Now we're going to stitch a front post double crochet. Normally we stitch up here in the top, but we're going to stitch our double crochet going around the post, which is this long part of our stitch. So yarn over, we're going to go around that post and finish our double crochet. We're still stitching a double crochet, we're just putting it in a different place. All right, now the way this pattern is going to work across for this row is we're going to stitch 4 double crochets, and then we'll stitch a front post double crochet. Now make sure you count your stitches and you don't go back a stitch or forward a stitch, because that can get your count off. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our 4 stitches. We're going to go around the post and stitch a double crochet, and that's why it's called a front post double crochet. And we'll repeat this across. Some more yarn out here. Now I'm ready for my front post. I'm going to stitch 4 more double crochets. Whoops, don't want to skip and go to the wrong stitch. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can see we've done 4 and 1 front post, 4, 1 front post, 4, 1 front post, 4, and 1 front post. And now we're going to do 4 more. One front post, and then we'll put 1 double crochet in those last 4 stitches. And don't forget that chain 3 at the beginning is your first stitch. You need to make sure you have those 4 stitches at the end, or it's going to mess up your count. Alright, so this is the way that it should look. 4 with 1 front post, repeat across, and then you'll end up with that front post and 4 at the end. And that's a total of 29 stitches. So we finished those 4 double crochets at the end of our row. We're going to chain 3, and on every row the chain 3 counts as the first stitch of the next row. Now we turned it over, and we're going to stitch exactly the same as we did on this row. The only difference is, since those are on the back side, instead of calling them front posts, they now become back posts. So we have 1 double crochet, counting because our chain 3 counts as our first, and we'll stitch 3. So we have 4 double crochets, counting our chain 3. And now we're going to do the back post. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. We're going to go around that post on the back side where it was a front post on the front side and finish up our double crochet. And until you get used to doing them, they can be just a little bit clumsy. And then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 4. 1 and 2. 3 and 4. And before I do my next back post, I want to show you, if you turn it this way, it looks like front post, but we call it a back post because we're working from the back side to make that post stitch. All right, let's do the next one. Yarn over. We're going to go around that post, pull up our loop, and just finish our double crochet. And then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 4. And then we'll make another back post around the back post. And stitch 1 double crochet in the next 4. Back post, double crochet. Oops, there we go. And then 4 double crochets. Here's our last back post. And then 1 double crochet in those last 4 stitches. Remember, the chain 3 is our last stitch, so we have to put a double crochet in the top of our chain 3. And then chain 3. So this is what it looks like from the back, and this is what it looks like from the front. And you have your front posts where we stitched our back post in our front post. And this is how it should look after row 3. All right, for row 4, we're going to be staggering our front post stitches. So we're going to do it just a little bit different. Our chain 3 still counts as our first double crochet, and it will for every row. But instead of doing 4 altogether, we're only going to have 3. So our chain 3 counts as 1, and we're only going to stitch a double crochet in the next 2. And that will give us 3 double crochets. And then we're going to place our front post in the next stitch. And that's going to cause our front post stitches to be staggered. So now we're going to place a double crochet in the next stitch. And we'll do that so that we have 4 double crochets together. Let me show you. Not together, but next to each other. So we're going to repeat the pattern of 4 double crochets and a front post double crochet. But by doing it with the 3 at the beginning, we're staggering where our front posts are. All right, so I'm going to make a front post in the next stitch. There's my front post double crochet, and then I'll stitch 4 double crochets, 1 in each of the next stitches, the next 4 stitches. Now I'm doing my front post. So we're still doing 4 double crochets with a front post, but like I said, we're staggering the stitches. All right, so now I'm going to place 1 double crochet in the next 4, and then my front post double crochet. 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches, front post in the next stitch. There we go. And then you'll notice at the end of this row, we're going to have 5 double crochets. Go ahead and chain 3. And so what happened is we have 3 at the beginning, and then we repeated our front post with 4 in between, and then when we got to the end, here's our front post, and instead of having 4 on this end, we have 5. And that's how row 4 should look. All right, let's do row 5. We've got our chain 3 here, and we're going to go ahead and turn our work. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to repeat what we did for row 4, only we're doing it in reverse, and of course our front posts now become back posts. So our chain 3 counts as our first, and since we ended with those 5 double crochets, we need to begin with them. And so our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. Our next stitch was the front post, and so it's a back post from this side. So we'll stitch our back post, and then we'll repeat the 4 double crochets, back post, 4 double crochets, back post, across until we reach back to this beginning. So 4 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 4. Our back post, double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in the next 4. Our back post, double crochet, 1 double crochet in each of the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, back post, double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next 4, here's our last back post. And because we started with just 3 double crochets, we're going to end with 3 double crochets. And chain 3 and turn our work. And you can see here how the staggering effect is working. Here's our front post from our first row, and here's our front and back post from our next rows. And that's the way that it should look after row 5. All right, now for row 6, we're going to stagger again. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. we're only going to place 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to stitch our front post double crochet. And if you'll notice, you're stitching for the next set of rows next to each one. Like here's our front post, and then we went here. Here's our front post, and now we're going here. All right, and then we're going to go back to repeating 4 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 4. Then we'll stitch our front post, and if you'll notice, it's right next to the front post from the previous row. And that's the pattern that we're working. 1, 2, 3, 4, front post, 1, 2, whoopsie, guess we'll do 2 over, there we go. Sometimes they jump off your hook for no apparent reason. And then our front post double crochet. One double crochet in each of the next 4. Then front post double crochet. 1 double crochet in each of the next 4. Then we'll stitch a front post double crochet in the next, and then we'll end with 1 double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and do my chain 3, 2, 3, there we go. And then we can take a look at this row. We started with 2 because our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and then we repeated front post 4 double crochets, front post 4 double crochets till we reached here, 4 double crochets, and then we ended with 1 front post and 1 double crochet. And that's the way that row 6 will work. So now we're ready for row 7. We're going to turn our work, and again we're going to repeat what we did in row 6, only in reverse. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to do our first back post double crochet in that front post double crochet, and then we'll repeat 4 double crochets, back post, 4 double crochets, back post, working all the way across. So 1 double crochet in each of the double crochet stitches. And then back post double crochet. And the more you do these, the less they'll be clumsy to you. The back post, for some reason for me, are a little bit more clumsy than the front post. But you'll get better and better at it as you practice. And this is a good project to practice those back post double crochets. There we go. And we'll just continue to repeat this until we get to the end. I've completed this row going across, stitching 1 double crochet in 4, and then the back post in the front post. Here's my last 4 stitches on this row, and now I'm going to stitch a back post around that front post. And then I'm going to stitch 1 double crochet in these last 2 stitches. There we go. and chain 3. And let's turn it over because this is the front. Even though the back is very pretty and you'll get the colors of the cakes as you work up or whatever striping yarn that you're using. But what you'll begin to notice is here's your 2 front posts, here's your 2 front posts, here's your 2 front posts. They're staggering up. And that's the technique that we're doing. All right, let's do row 8. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to immediately stitch a front post double crochet around the next stitch. And then we'll do our repeat of 4 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 4. Front post double crochet, front post double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next 4, front post double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next 4, front post double crochet, there's my 4, then front post double crochet, there we go, and 1 double crochet in the last 2 double crochets. I'll go ahead and make that chain 3. And again, you can see how those stagger. Let's do row 9. We're going to turn our work. We've already got our chain 3. And again, we're just going to stitch, when we're on the back side, the reverse of the previous row. So for row 9, we have our chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet. We'll double crochet in the first stitch, and then we'll back post double crochet around that front post from the previous row. And then we'll repeat across our 4 double crochets, and our back post stitch. And we'll just repeat this across the row. 4 double crochets, back post double crochet across the row. I stitched those last 4 double crochets. We're going to stitch our front post actually our back post, double crochet in our front post, and then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in that last stitch and chain 3. And now you can really see those staggering front post stitches. All right, let's do row 10. Now our chain 3 here counts again as our first double crochet, and we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So we have 5 double crochets here together. Our next stitch is our front post double crochet. Then we repeat our 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. And our front post double crochet. And we'll repeat this across this row. 4 double crochets. Whoops. 4 double crochets in our front post double crochet in the next. Four double crochets, front post double crochet in the next. Four double crochets, front post double crochet in the next, and then we'll end with 3 double crochets. And chain 3. And you'll notice that every time we stagger, our next front post double crochet is next to the last one. All right, we're going to turn our work, and then we're going to repeat what we did for row 10 for row 11, just in reverse. So our chain 3 again counts as our first double crochet, and we'll stitch 2 double crochets. We'll stitch our back post double crochet in our front post. And then 1 double crochet in each of the 4. And then back post in our front post. And then we'll repeat that across. 4 double crochets, back post. Repeat across. So I've repeated my 4 double crochets with my back posts in between. I've done my last back post there, and now I'm going to stitch 1 double crochet in those last 5 double crochets. All right, so now we're going to turn our work. And what you'll notice is we have 11 rows. And in order to complete your scarf, you'll need to repeat these 11 rows 9 more times or more if you want your scarf to be longer. So you'll begin again with 4, and you'll have your double crochet front post here like we did down here. And then you'll repeat rows 2 through 11 9 more times. So here is the completed scarf, and you can see how those rows of front post and back post carry over to the side and make a nice slanted texture, and I think it gives it a classic look, and it's a great pattern. The texture is perfect, and it will work great with some of these beautiful cake yarns. But like I said, I don't recommend that you use the variegated yarns that are very busy, because you'll lose that beautiful texture of those front post and back post stitches. And just to repeat, you'll need to repeat rows 2 through 11 for 9 more times, or longer if you want your scarf longer. And that's how you make the Cavalier scarf.